Let's start with the big question. What exactly is OneDrive? In this video series, you'll discover how Microsoft OneDrive can simplify the way you access, manage, and share your files. So what exactly is OneDrive? Microsoft OneDrive is your personal file storage in Microsoft 365. Your files are stored in the cloud instead of on a single computer or in a network drive. This means you can access your files from anywhere and on any device. If you're using OneDrive at work, it often replaces or works alongside your personal network drive, for instance, the P drive. If you're using it personally, think of it as your online file storage space. Just like a personal drive, your files are private unless you choose to share them. At its core, OneDrive helps you create, store, and manage your files all in one place. You can also share and collaborate, so multiple people can work on the same file at the same time, whether they're in the office or working remotely. And behind the scenes, OneDrive is constantly syncing and backing up your files so your changes are saved and available across all your devices, even if you were offline when you made them. There are multiple ways you can work with Microsoft OneDrive. When you're logged into your Microsoft 365 account through a browser, then you'll find OneDrive as one of the apps in the app launcher. There's also a OneDrive app, which is automatically installed on a Windows 11 machine. OneDrive is available to you through File Explorer and also directly from your Microsoft 365 applications, including Excel, Outlook, Word, and Teams. Here I'm logged into my Microsoft 365 account. You can get there in a lot of different ways. Microsoft365.com, Office.com, OneDrive.com. Now, your screen might look a little different depending upon how it's set up in your organization. On the left-hand side, I'll pick Apps and then choose More Apps. Here I'll see a list of common applications. We can access others under All Apps. For those that you're using frequently, let's say OneDrive, we can hover over here and look for the three dots, which is More Actions, More Options, and choose Pin. I'll access OneDrive, and here we see my OneDrive environment. For this example, the organization is Contoso Electronics, and my alias is Megan. Right now we're looking at the home location, and I'll go into that in more detail as we continue. For navigation at the left-hand side, lets us move through the other elements of Microsoft OneDrive. For instance, My Files. This is where we will primarily be working. Shared, Favorites, Recycle Bin, and other ways to browse our files, including by people. You may also see shortcuts at the bottom here for commonly used workspaces such as Team Channels and SharePoint. I'll come back to Home here. If I want more space available for my primary interface, at any time we can collapse this navigation. Simply click this option and come back to it again, or you can access these options through the icons. In the home view, you'll typically see your files broken out in a couple different ways. For You is just AI recommending files for you. These are typically files that have been recently shared with you or recently edited. Below that, we'll see files that you have worked with, and you can filter these files by different types. For instance, Word documents, Excel files, PowerPoint, and more. We'll come back to all to see them. We can also filter by the name or a keyword or phrase. Here I'll put in Contoso, and you can see that now my files are filtered by that keyword. And this also could be a word that's maybe not in the name, but in the content. Let's look at My Files. This is my primary working area. You'll typically find a number of folders here, even if you have not been directly working with OneDrive. So once it's available to you, there will be some default folders. So some folders are created for you. For instance, Microsoft Copilot chat files, Microsoft Teams chat files, and others. You can also create your own, of course, for various projects, departments, and so on. Remember, this is your private file storage. To manage files and folders, this is where we work with this option, Create or Upload. And from here, we can create new folders, upload files and folders, or even create new documents. I'll show you more about that as we continue. Let's add a file using Files Upload. From here, navigate to the location that you want. In this case, this happens to just be an external drive with some practice files. And from here, I'm going to find this North Wind proposal presentation. So I'll simply choose and select that and open. That file has been uploaded to my OneDrive. So it's not moved in this case. A copy of it has been made. So that's one of the things to keep track of as well, to make sure you don't have multiple copies. So let's look at that file. One of the things that you'll notice is as new content is added, whether it's a file or a folder, here you'll see this little eyelash or sunshine, and that simply indicates something that has been recently added. It's good to keep in mind that many organizations will have limits as to what can be uploaded, and this might include scripts, programs, zip files, and other automation. We'll continue to look at file and folder management in the next video of the series. But let's look at another way that we might bring in a file. One of the challenges of having files that are attachments is that we can have multiple copies of those. So as we continue looking at OneDrive, one of the options would be to share the file rather than sending it as an attachment. But if you do receive a file as an attachment, it's easy to add it to OneDrive. Here's what we do. So I have this document, and typically we would click on the drop down and then choose Save As or Save All Attachments. But here's an option to upload, and then I will pick my OneDrive. So you can see that it was already saved. And let's switch back to OneDrive to find out where that went. Back in my OneDrive, here is a folder called Attachments, and there is that document. So here's the attachment that came from that email. So this can be a handy way, an easier way for you to manage that. Anything in this attachments folder can be moved to an appropriate location. So pick whatever option works best for you, but know that upload is one of your choices. Even though we've been focused on working with the OneDrive interface, it's likely you'll be using OneDrive primarily through your applications. And let's see how we can access a file then through one of those Microsoft 365 apps, in this case, Excel. So I'm in the Excel desktop application. I could also do this from Excel on the web, and we simply choose File, Open, and notice here my OneDrive. From here, we see the same folders that we were looking at, and I'll move to Contoso Electronics, and here is a Contoso monthly report. So I can open that directly in my application. And I could have also done this through the OneDrive interface. It's that easy. Pick the option that makes the most sense for you so that you can easily start working on your files. So at its core, OneDrive is your personal workspace for storing, creating, and managing your files in Microsoft 365. This video is part of a full OneDrive series. Check the description below for links for the rest of the videos to go deeper into organizing and collaborating. For more tips, visit thesoftwarepro.com/OneDrive. If this was helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more time-saving software tips. I'll see you in the next video.